Hey guys.
Hey.
So I know 10 a.m. would be the first GameGrumps upload, but we're gonna shift gears, do something a little different.
Yeah.
We're gonna be showing a little bit of animation, and
Going back to our roots.
back to our roots,
Back to our
man.
roots.
We're gonna be calling it a Let's Animate.
Let's animate. The idea is that we want to basically adapt animation to work with the new YouTube platform, which is minutes watched rather than views. So to do that, we've adapted it, and you're going to have to watch the entire animation production while two people talk over it. We figure that this is a popular format that has been taking off on YouTube, and I think it's to move with the times. We're going to have to adapt animation to follow this trend as well.
That's right. That's
yeah.
right. So basically, we're gonna avoid all the problems that come with playing video games. We'll leave that to the Let's Players.
Yeah.
We're the Let's Animators now. So say goodbye to Game Grumps and hello to Toon Grumps.
Toon Grumps. Play the intro.
Hey, let's draw and animate! And this is Toon Grumps!
Hey, welcome to the first episode of Toon Grumps.
Hey.
I'm joined here by Arin Hansen, also
Yeah.
known as Egoraptor. I
Hey.
am Ross O'Donovan, also known as the Rubber Ninja.
Rubber Ninja.
We're here to talk about animation today. Today, I am working on the Minecraft is for Everyone Starbomb music video. I am roughing it out before passing it off to the lovely people at Yada Studios. Lovely bunch of boys and girls.
Studio Yada.
Yeah, Studio Yada. That is what they're known as. You can see their work. They've done they did the Smash. Anyway,
They did Smash. They did all the. I think they had a hand in every Starbomb video. Not Spaz Kid's Street Fighter one.
Spaz Kid.
That was all Spaz.
Spaz Kid is a singular man who can take down pretty much any task. He is an exceptionally hard worker.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like I've seen him work, and I'm just like I've even heard stories of him. He just kind of like wakes up, goes to sleep, and just nothing but
yeah.
animation.
Mhm.
That shit is insane.
Yep.
But
Probably
anyway,
dreams about animation too.
Aaron, what is your history as an animator and as a cartoonist and a cartoon man?
Well, I used to work at Disney Studios.
Your real history.
Okay.
Where'd you start?
I used to work in my bedroom.
Mhm.
Just doing whatever. That's it, really.
Yeah, really.
Well, I always grew up drawing, and I just animating seemed like a natural progression. I did flip books and stuff, and
Yeah, you did flip books too.
yeah, dude. I
I
mean,
started-
that's the first media that you can possibly do.
That's interesting. I actually started with comics. I used to do comics with my friend at
Oh,
school
yeah, I did
at
comics as
lunchtime,
well.
and we would we had like 5 readers at school, and they would like, "When's the next comic coming out?" And they'd just be like stapled, like folded A4 pieces of paper,
Mm.
and we just give them to people at school. That was interesting.
Wait, you had people reading your comics?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
at
I didn't
school.
have a readership.
Yeah.
That shit was all to myself.
It was pretty rad. I was pretty happy with that, and I think the next like logical progression with that is you want to move on to making things move, but I don't know that for me I think it was kind of this weird thing where like I didn't really know how to approach that, and
Sure.
I wasn't really presented with an option, and of course like Newgrounds came along when I was like in
Actually,
school.
shit. You know what?
Yeah.
My first animation was stop motion.
I did that too. I kind of don't think of it as animation, but it is animation.
That's totally animation.
It's total animation. I definitely did that with clay and toys, and I don't think I was doing it in the traditional sense. I was just stopping the camera, pressing the on and off on the camera.
Oh yeah,
going,
that's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, I was really into Wallace and Gromit, and
Oh, I love Wallace and Gromit.
yeah, so I was constantly making short film. I remember I made like a couple little short films for school projects and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't know how to dub it, so I would just perform it live.
Oh my god.
I would just like memorize like the script and then like perform it live. And I remember that was a fucking travesty.
dude, I remember
But I tried really hard.
when I like wanted to figure out like how to approach animation. I think I started high school, and I hadn't really had an opportunity to do it like digitally. I think I'd tried like flip books at that point, but I ended up finding out that my school had a program called Corel Rave. Have you ever heard of that?
No, never.
It's
knew
it
Corel
was Corel Draw, yes, same company. It was Corel's attempt at making their own Flash, but they discontinued it because, well, to be honest, it was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And-
well, Flash was terrible at the
Yeah,
time.
it was like originally what is it called? Future Splash Animator was Flash's first name.
Oh God.
Yeah, have you ever tried animating in it?
No, I've never even heard of it.
I actually downloaded a copy of it once and tried it out. It was hilarious.
Wow.
It was hilarious. But anyway, yeah, I started with Corel Rave because that was all the school had, and they were like, yeah, this is the animation medium. This is what everyone should use. Everyone uses in the industry. Everyone uses Corel Rave. No, I've never heard anyone bring up Corel Rave in my entire history as an animator ever since. I don't even think anyone I've ever brought it up with has been like, I know what that is. Anyway, logically, I was like, I would see these things on Newgrounds, and everyone was like, oh, you should make like, do you remember, what is it called? Xiao Xiao?
Xiao Xiao,
Is it Xiao Xiao? Yeah, it's pronounced like that. I would see that, and everyone's like, Ross, you can animate. Why don't you like do those like stick fighting animations? And I'd be like,
because they're fucking amazing.
Yeah, I was
They
like,
still are good.
I was
to this
like,
day.
I don't know, man. Like they look really hard, and they're done in Flash. That's like that must be a really hard program. So I don't know. And then
I still don't know how to use Flash.
fuck off, you do.
I just draw and then I go to the next frame. I don't know how to
You've
use
gotten
any fucking
better.
Functionality.
You still occasionally have questions where you're like, how's a mouse?
and it's
work
always
now?
the stupidest question.
Yeah,
it's like,
I mean,
how do I make a shape on the
they're
screen?
normally symbol-related questions, like objects, and I can understand you not really knowing how to do that because you never did that, you know?
Well, that's my point. Is I open up Flash and then I draw and then I make the next frame and I draw and like that's
You
how
know
I
how to
use
use
Flash.
the layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like if I needed to do any like fancy effects or anything, I'd be like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, I fucking like, well, when I started using that stupid program, I wanted to learn Flash, right? So I guess there was like a work experience program at my school, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll do the work experience program. Maybe I can figure that out. And there's obviously no animation jobs where I live, so I was like, fuck it, I'll do like a web design job. And then I get there and I show them like a shitty, I think, animation I did of Vegeta doing Final Flash, like in like Corel Rave. And they're like,
Nice.
mind you, there's like no motion tweens. Oh, that was the Flash bug. Look at that.
What
That's
happened?
crazy. The when you select everything, the line art
Oh
disappears.
god, I fucking
I
hate
that bug. Anyway, so I go to this interview at this like work experience placement at this, I guess it was a like a web design firm, and they were like, cool, what you do this in? Like Corel Rave, and I think they were just like, never heard of it.
I've never heard of it.
And they're just
Jesus.
like, can you learn Flash? And I was like, I mean, do I need to? And they're like, yeah, that'd be really good if you could. So my mom was like, we have to figure out how to get you to learn Flash. So like my mom contacted like some like colleges like that would like teach like program like short like certificate courses.
Uh-huh.
And I went and did this like 10-hour Flash course. And like I learned like the bare minimum, like how to do a motion tween and stuff like that. And from there, I just like taught myself like fucking everything, and then like eventually got on Newgrounds and all that. But I fucking remember that we had this work experience like interview that we had to do where you had to show what you've been doing at your work experience placement. So I bring this like animation I did of Rubber Ninja, who was once a character,
Right.
fighting a pair of like sentient underpants.
Okay.
And it was like totally Dragon Ball Z, like it was all right. It wasn't half bad. I've seen it like, and I think I saw it like 4 years ago on my old computer, and I was like, it's still okay. I mean, for like a little kid doing this. But we showed that to the person during like the people at the work experience program would like interview and be like, what are you doing, and is there a future in this career? And I remember I brought that animation. I sat down this guy and I played it. He just and with my mom sitting there like all impressed, sat there deadpan, then looks at me and just like, there's no future in this. Have you considered another career?
Oh my god, what a fucking asshole.
You're a tool. You should jump off.
Oh
a
god, I
bridge.
hate people like that.
Yeah, right. And he like literally is telling this like 13-year-old kid me like, you can't do this because you live in Australia and there's no fucking way you're gonna ever succeed. Literally telling someone a work experience placement that there's no future in this. News for you, dude. Eat my fucking chode. Anyway.
Yeah. Fucking shaped an industry for it.
Yeah, so fuck
dude,
off.
Plus, like, you know, sometimes people say like, oh, you know, well, sometimes that's more powerful of a motivation because then you do it out of spite.
Yeah, and I think I did partially. I mean, there's been lots. You know, there's a lot of things I've done out of spite, actually.
Yeah, totally. But like, I don't think that's a good enough excuse because I feel like there's probably more people that stopped doing something because of that sort of discouragement.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we've had that sort of discouragement in the past, but we also had a lot of people in our lives that were encouraging, and we also had a community to to sort of like help each other.
But
if you're constantly hearing like from everybody in your life that you can't do it, like you're probably not gonna do it. You know?
That's true. I mean, I think I found a lot of,
especially in a place as volatile as fucking Perth. Like, there's nothing there. There's nobody there. There's no animators.
I mean, there were, surprisingly, and it was actually funny. Nearing the end of my time living there, I ended up starting to meet animators, and I was just like, "Where have you people been?" Like, fucking like High Five Toons lives in Perth. The guy who did Pikachu on Acid.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that? Like Perth, like that came as a shock to me. Apparently, How to Basic is from Perth, and I did not know that living
Wow.
there. That came as a shock. And I think there's like a few other animators that do stuff on YouTube that are from there, and I'm learning that now, and it's just like, the fuck, where were these people?
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It's weird to think about because, like, I don't know.
I guess you don't expect anybody to be from there, so you don't really like seek it out.
Yeah, I mean, I was a part of like animation communities there, like, you'd think that you know pretty much everyone, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Plus, how do you advertise that sort of thing? Like,
Yeah.
if you wanted to make like an open call to like people in Perth, like, hey, let's hang out and be animators together. Like, how would you go about doing that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there like a Perth forum that everybody in Perth goes to? Do they like lock into the Matrix, like with the fucking their back of their head, like, and it's like, oh, this is the Perth Matrix.
Didgeridoo sounds play.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, the thing is that and this is like advice I should really give a young artist. I mean, when you're doing something, there is going to be a time where, like, and it might go both ways. Like, the people you do love and you do care about, like, well, sometimes you might not think that, but your parents, they might discourage you, but understand that they love you dearly, and I think they're just concerned. Like,
Yeah.
my dad and my mom, there definitely was a point where I think they actually did think, like, maybe this isn't going to work, you know? And I can remember my dad having talks, like, you need to figure out things. And I mean, it wasn't ever like super discouraging, but there was times where I'm like, maybe he's right, you know?
That's true.
Yeah, but I think I remember the time when my parents kind of like backed off on that, and then I did it was with you. You did the voices on it. I did the Gamer Tonight stuff for ABC TV in Australia on that show, Good Game, which is still on TV, by the way, in Australia. And I did Gamer Tonight on that. And when my parents saw something I did on TV, they were like, all right, let's back off. You know, like this is a thing. And I mean, it was like you with like, I mean, I don't think your dear old Lloyd and mother were they ever harsh on you or?
No, actually, they were pretty cool. Like the whole
Yeah.
way through. My mom was actually all in favor of getting me out of school because I dropped out my third year, I think,
Of
high school. Like before I even
Jesus.
started it, so I did 2 years and then I dropped
That's
out.
such a fucking social like.
Yeah, and my
like,
mom was
at
very
least
much
where I'm from.
like, "You're not learning anything there, are you?" And I was like, "Nah." And like
Yeah.
I was being honest. I wasn't just like trying to get out of school.
Yeah,
But she was like, "All right, well then we'll get you out of school," and that was that.
that's interesting. Man.
And then I don't remember clearly enough, but I think that I think they were pretty like, you need to get a job now.
Yeah.
So I did, and like I worked for my dad, and then I like worked at Blockbuster and shit.
Oh, I
like,
did a few shitty jobs like that too.
Yeah, I got jobs all over the place.
Worked at Hungry Jack's, which was
Nice.
Burger King in Australia, and I worked at I got fired from one job. I remember, or at least like not fired, but like I didn't care about the job enough, and I didn't make it through the trial period.
You know, I think
that's
it was an interesting situation
Yeah.
too, because like I sort of felt like
Yeah.
maybe I had something to prove because I had dropped out. Like I feel like if I had gone through all of the school and then got a shitty job,
Mm-hmm.
then I'd be like, well, what was this all for anyway? You know, like I went through all
Yeah.
this school and now I have a shitty job at Blockbuster. Whereas like I dropped out and I had a shitty job and I'm like, okay, well I deserve this. I'm gonna make the best
How
of
are you
it.
gonna make it better? Right.
And I think that taught me a lot about like work ethic and like
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, being good at your job even if it's not like that important.
Mm.
And I was always very good at what I did when I worked shitty jobs. I always tried to do my best.
I was not. I really wasn't. I mean, I still have horrible concentration. I've gotten better, but like, I mean, Jesus Christ, I just hated jobs that I like didn't give a shit about. I tried my best, you know. I was a terrible fry cook.
Oh
Terrible.
yeah.
Terrible. Put me out to wash the fucking the restaurant because it was garbage at it.
Oh man.
I mean, I wasn't terrible. I just fucking clearly didn't want to be there.
Did you get your returns on your fries? Were they like, these fries aren't good? They're not as good as they usually
I did
are.
actually get my hand burnt by my manager.
Oh my
and
god.
he
What?
made me
Like
keep-
purposely?
I don't know.
Was he like punishing you?
He like turned. He was like,
Is that how they do it in Australia?
I don't know. He like turned around with the fry, like I don't know what they're called, like the scoopy thing.
Yeah, the big grid ladle.
And then it was like broiling hot, and he like bashed against my wrist. And I was like, ah! And then he like put this like shit on it that's supposed to cool it, but then he immediately made me go back to work on the fries, and I could only use
around
one
the hot grease.
Yeah, so I could only use one hand because the steam was like burning my hand. It was like,
oh my fucking god! I can't believe he made you go back to work.
yeah,
Like,
it was. Yeah, that was a really wow. I had a really fucked up manager. I had this Irish manager. The guy was such an asshole. I remember my dog went missing, and he was like, "Can you work an extra 5 hours?" And I was like, actually, I kind of want to go home. My dog Phoebe, she's missing. I don't want to help my parents find her." And he's like, "I ran over a dog last night. What color is she?"
oh my god!
I
What
was
an
like,
asshole!
Excuse me? Like, yeah. Anyway, fucking
Wow,
fuck
dick.
working fast food. That was the worst. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, man, so many people come to me asking, like, what do I do? What do I do to, like, you know, get into animating or start animating? And I mean, the answer is animate.
Well, you know what's interesting is it's definitely died down a lot since it's not even like financially viable.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Well, it's not weird. Like
I mean, not weird. It makes sense.
I think people, wanted to get into it because they saw it as like an easy, fun thing to do, and it like makes a decent amount of money, right? But
That's not the
now,
case
now that it's
anymore.
not financially viable, you definitely
It's
get
not
like
glamorous.
yeah,
Yeah.
because those people, I sort of got that sense like pretty early on. So I was like, all right, don't do it to be famous. Do it because you like it. You
Mhm.
know, like
I think the people who, yeah. It's weird
but
to
now
think
the
about,
people
yeah.
that like email and like tweet and stuff are pretty genuine about it, and they just
Yeah.
want to learn.
Yeah. I mean, I should probably explain it to those that don't understand what we're talking about, because you actually spoke to Dan about it recently, because I actually had a resurgence of people asking me about it recently, because you and Dan spoke about it in Mario 64.
What do you
About the YouTube algorithm and all that.
Oh,
Yeah. So, I mean,
is that not common knowledge?
to some people it's not, because I actually had a lot of people hunting down the knowledge on it, I guess.
Oh,
But to people that don't know, what happened was,
kind of made a joke about it in the intro.
yeah, we did, didn't we? But so what happened was YouTube changed their algorithm, so it was more so focused on minutes watched than rather view count. And this is probably, I mean, guesstimated, because around the same time they did this, it was around the same time that people are abusing the system with the reply girls.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is just, I don't have evidence other than the fact that it was at the exact same time. And the Wikipedia article about reply girls literally states that to combat that, they change it to minutes watched. Anyway, when you change it to minutes watched and frequency uploads, that screwed a lot of like big animation channels.
Well, I think you might be leaving like a couple
a few
details
things out.
So
Yeah,
like
yeah, go for it.
how it worked was, and this was like highly publicized.
Yeah.
Was that you would get a certain amount of money per 1,000 views.
Yeah.
And that was like a set thing. It was like
That was
you
set in stone.
made 3 CPM. So that means you made $3 per 1,000 views on your videos.
Mhm.
And so people were very easily getting a sense of how much people were making on YouTube, because they could look at a video and then do the fucking math and be like, oh, this video made $10,000. Like,
Right.
that's crazy. And it didn't, it was like a weird viral video that was like just filmed in somebody's backyard or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, I can make it on YouTube. I can make animations on YouTube. And for a while, that's how it was. And
Absolutely.
And animation was very popular, and it was highly supported by the algorithm. Like, it was shared a lot. It was in a lot of related stuff. So, like, I released Poke Awesome, and that was like a huge hit. And that was a pretty good situation for me.
Yeah, that was amazing. And I had the same thing when I released Dirtcraft.
Right.
Yeah.
But, that doesn't last super long. And then suddenly the algorithm changed without YouTube telling anybody to a minutes watched model. So your CPM isn't actually your CPM anymore. It's something different. And you make a certain amount of money.
That's exactly
not
right.
based on views, but by how often your videos are watched, and also like the length of the watch time, because it started from your video.
Yeah.
And it's basically like how long people stayed on YouTube because of you.
Yeah,
That's
essentially.
That's the metric.
And it determines how you come up in search results on related videos. So it ended up being this kind of thing where overnight animation channels had this giant plummet, just absolute plummet in just sustainability entirely. And that's why you saw people like Oni making videos about it myself. Rodrigo, Sexual Lobster, just tons of people. I mean,
And that's why we're seeing this this huge boom of Let's Players, because it's long content
that can be produced quickly,
relatively easy to make.
Yeah.
And it does pretty well. So
I mean,
and it does well because the algorithm also supports it.
And these aren't people abusing the algorithm. This is content that's been present prior.
Yeah.
And this is stuff that's been going on for a long time. It just happened to be that this change was more so, I think, in maybe in the people designing the algorithm or whatever, maybe in their head it was more so they were thinking about the gaming stuff. But you know, like I can imagine that this was not an intentional change on YouTube's part.
Certainly.
Yeah, like. Because I mean, who would think that like making the slightest change to something like that would like completely destroy the livelihood of like
absolutely
a ton of like talent on their platform? Like,
YouTube is a web, and it's completely at the mercy of its algorithm. And you change one tiny little thing, and everything fucking it ripples immediately,
collapses. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we're talking about. I don't remember what the original topic was.
It was basically that we were talking about how it's not sustainable. Maura and I said that you brought it up with Dan. Dan brought it up or something. And
we were talking about kids asking us.
Oh, kids asking us and how it's not glamorous anymore. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, pretty much that. So
yeah, I mean that 100%,
usually the people who ask me like how to get into animation and stuff, I get the sense now that it's more because they actually want to, and not because not because they want to make the YouTube muns or something like that.
It's weird when someone approaches me and they're like, "I want to do Let's Play. What do I do?" I'm like, I don't fucking know. I didn't start GameGrumps. That was Arin and John. I don't fucking know shit.
I don't even know what to.
Yeah, I don't even know what to tell you.
We did one thing and it worked.
Record a fucking video game, talk over it, be relatively interesting, and have a good microphone. Done. That's how you do a Let's Play.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty big deal to have a good microphone.
You have to be a little bit of an audiophile. That's probably
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Like I think that's because when you sound like I'm talking on my Xbox microphone headset.
Yeah, if you're doing a Let's Play in a headset, forget it.
just go home.
Get a fucking condenser mic.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, Google it.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is and you don't want to Google it, just get a fucking Yeti.
And if you don't know what Google is, how about you Bing that?
Go ahead and Bing it. You might get some porn, but
yeah, Bing is great for porn. But anyway, moving on. So yeah, man, like it is weird to think about, right? Because like so many people I know that were doing that are like, shit sucks now, and I'm like, yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, well, I've been trying to help people out.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, doing the GameGrumps Animated, it's been a perfect platform to help.
I've been wanting to do that for like a fucking year, and then finally I was like, why aren't I doing this? I can set aside a budget to hire animators that I like and give them work.
Yeah.
And so far it's been pretty good. I've had a couple people like, can I do more? It's
really?
Like, yeah, but well, I mean, really? it's like, you know, if they're not. If they're having like a slow period in their career, like why not?
It happens, man.
I need them every week.
Dude, I took some freelance jobs that I never want to ever see the light of day. Like, oh my god, fucking nightmare. I'm not gonna share them. I don't want people finding them.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
And I always put like a whole lot of effort into them too.
Yeah.
I had like this huge vision for them, and then like I never see them ever again.
Oh
and
god.
It's like, well, where'd this go? I got paid $300 for this. Yay.
Yeah.
And I spent like fucking 2 weeks on it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, those were the days. Those were the days.
I don't know, man. Like, it's weird, right? Because like with animation now, I made that move with my channel. I was like, yeah, I'm so pumped to do animation. Wait, what's going on? What? Wait. What? Oh, they changed that? When did they change that? That was my reaction when moving my channel. But now I'm just like, I've got a channel with nearly 300,000 subscribers. I don't know what the fuck to do with it.
Yeah.
And trying to figure that out is like, I don't know. It's part of me is like, I don't know, put Let's Plays on there. I do that already. Oh, this is my lunch break. Just ignore that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was making some instant pasta, or instant macaroni, whatever you want to call it.
This is a fucking craft ass brand deal in the middle of our fucking. Are you already getting brand deals?
Well, I gotta make money somehow. Animation's not paying for this shit.
You gotta fucking. We just have like a ton of these in the just like food. I think we have like multiple brands.
Yeah.
I think the craft ones are my favorites. Oh, you had the ones with the fucking they come with the crumble on the top.
All right. They're all right.
Oh, that shit is so good.
They're all right.
Fuck, I love those home style.
Well, I wanted to keep things really genuine because I was gonna stop their capture because I was gonna go make lunch, but I thought, well, I don't really want to order food, so I figured, fuck it, I'll just grab some macaroni from the fridge.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
you
from
just-
the cab cupboard.
all you gotta do is fucking put water in it. You gotta put that cream sauce in first.
Did I do it wrong?
No, you did it right.
Okay.
There's like a specific one that helps it cook that you put in first, and then you mix it up,
Oh, yeah. Yes, I
Um,
think.
and then you put in like the extra cream later.
Yeah, I didn't really like it that much.
What, really?
Oh no, I finished it. I mean, I think
You know what I might be
I
thinking?
must have cooked it wrong.
I might be thinking
I was
of the
looking at
Velveeta
the-
one.
I was looking at the ingredients for a long time. I mean, the instructions, but I think the microwave like ass blasted it, and it was just like really rubbery. And I was like, oh, I think I fucked up.
I hate microwave instructions because every
Yeah.
fucking microwave is different.
Yeah.
It's like you know what it always says? It always says this amount of time on high, and it's like, what the fuck microwave has like high and low anymore? It's
Yeah.
just a microwave. You press the buttons and it goes. What the fuck is high?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I fucking hate cooking. I like cooking. Actually, I take that
Is that
back.
me in the background?
Yeah, it's you. You were on an important phone call.
Oh, was I?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. So you're doing that circle stride.
Oh
you do when
god,
you're
yeah,
on the phone.
the fucking pacing.
Dude, I do that as well. I'll find like a rug with a pattern, and then I'll circle the rug, having a really serious conversation, but I'm really just focusing on going around the rug.
Dude, and you know what? It
What?
clouds my mind so much because I'm thinking about the pattern the whole time.
Yeah.
And then if I just sit down, then I get
Can't
like
do
way
it.
more into the conversation.
I can't do it. I hate talking to people on the phone. I can't do it.
Oh damn, dude.
I think I did it right.
The genius prestige is that I've never looked at our microwave this close before.
There's gonna be that one guy who's like, oh my god, I can't believe you put it in for 2 minutes and a half. It's
Genius prestige.
fucking macaroni scrub right
And
here.
it's an inverter? Oh my god. How could you?
How could
Ross?
you?
I was
How
wearing my
could
Hello
you?
Kitty pants that day.
Yeah, they're nice.
That's nice. That's probably like, hey, what are you doing, Ross?
Yeah.
Why are you filming yourself playing
little fast
macaroni?
forward here. Yeah. I think Barry did actually come over and be like, what are you doing? I think he didn't understand that he was fired and this was a Let's Animate.
No, there you go.
Yeah.
Man, this is exciting.
This is riveting
What
stuff.
the fuck are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about animation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What are you working on?
I'm not working on anything. Well,
That's not true. I mean, don't tell everyone because you want to keep a little bit of suspense.
I'm working.
Surprise.
I feel like I've been pretty public about it. I'm working on a long form thing,
Yeah, me too.
so that's why you haven't seen anything
Yeah.
at all. I'm not doing shorts anymore.
Yeah, I think I've kind of hit that wall as well. Can we talk about that, or is that
Just go for it.
okay? So back when I was how old? How old was I? 19, 20?
I don't know what
I
you're
don't-
referring to.
Oh
so-
well, I'll tell you in a sec. I did a little show called like a little short thing called Gamerverse, and I was
Yeah.
like really. It was kind of like this sarcastic thing I made as a joke. Like I wasn't really supposed to be serious, and it was animated badly intentionally. And then I was like, oh fuck, I actually really like this.
Yeah.
And it was jokingly called by us like Ego Raptor talks to himself because every character was Arin. And then yeah, what happened was I really liked this, and then I didn't really continue it after 4 episodes because like I don't really know where I'm going with this, and I didn't really know how to write long form or scripted, or I mean like I didn't really know how to write
Yeah.
stories.
I didn't either.
I was young. I was really young. I was like fuck. It was like oh god, it was like 8 years
Doing
ago.
a one hand squeeze.
Yeah,
I
it was
see.
really difficult. But yeah, man, we're back. And yeah, no, recently because of the changes of YouTube, it's kind of this thing where you're like, well, they're not really doing anything to support our medium or our format or our endeavors. So it's like, why am I even stressing about it? Like, I think we're kind of at this point where both of us are just like, let's just fucking like use the resources we get from doing the show that we just canceled,
Mhm.
and make a long form animation series, make 2 of them, just make them. And we're trying to see if it's feasible right now. Like, and it probably is, but it's a long project and a long haul if we
Mhm.
pursue it. And I really want to. And we're working on a script right now. Gamerverse is coming along. Aaron's story is coming along too.
Mhm.
It's definitely something that we want to pursue. And I feel that that's like a much more, I don't know, like admirable.
Well, the thing is like making shorts. Here's something that people
Yeah.
don't understand.
Yeah.
I feel like people maybe don't really get is that like we catch a lot of flack for like moving from animation to let's playing or whatever, you know,
Mhm,
however that is, like selling out or that whole fucking rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But the thing is like the shorts that we were making were like it
Yeah.
was for like like obviously we did it because we enjoyed animating, but like it's not like we were making fucking art. We were making fucking video game parodies. Like we were doing that because that's the stuff that kept us eating and paying rent.
It's weird when you say that because like I remember we had the animation panel at MagFest and it was like, what can I do to get noticed? And like I remember that I had a few friends who were just like, I just want to do what like like Zach and Chris do, and they like make an original series, and that's how they get popular. I'm like, gonna stop you there. Yeah. Zach and Chris both admit, and during MagFest panels, that they originally did satire to try and draw in an audience, and I think that's smart. I mean,
that's how you do it,
dude. You think about there's a lot of bands. I can't think of them. Maybe Oasis. A lot of bands started as cover bands.
Yeah. The hardest thing
it's
to
a
do.
Weird thing to think about.
The hardest thing to do for a creator or an artist or whatever is to find an audience.
Yeah.
And you can make the most fucking awesome creative shit you've ever seen, and anybody who would see it their eyes would fucking blow out of their head. But if
there's a lot of that on Vimeo.
If there's no fucking hook, or if there's no audience, if there's nobody's gonna watch it. Like
that's it in a nutshell.
If it doesn't have like a shareability to it, and it's like a lot of art doesn't have a shareability to it. So we have a fan base and are afforded these opportunities because we did all that stuff for years. We did the fucking parodies on the YouTubes and whatnot, and people and
people give you a hard time about it. But
the ironic thing is that we got shit for doing those back then, and now we're getting shit for selling out and not being the artists that we once were, and we were never fucking artists.
Yeah.
Like we did plenty of art for ourselves, but that wasn't the stuff that got popular, and that's not the stuff that you know about. That's the stuff that we kept to ourselves, or we showed to our friends, or we put out there and nobody fucking saw.
Oh, this is like a real therapeutic venting. I'm liking this. I think everyone's liking this. Let's keep going.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is the things that we're doing now are actually like the art that we've always wanted to make.
Yeah, I think
these long form cartoons.
I think that what we've gone through in the past 10 years has afforded us that opportunity. And I think that's really exciting to think about. I'm going to be, I think as this is airing and we've canceled GameGrumps, I'm in Australia right now. And, I'm in Australia. That's crazy. I'm not even here right now. I'm fucking, I'm coming back from Australia and Japan. We're doing that as well. I'm meeting everyone there later. And then when we get back, I'm just going to drop everything and just work on that.
Like if that's not
cool.
It's the same story for everybody. Yeah. If you fucking look at John Blow, he worked this like shitty consulting job for fucking EA and shit for like years.
Really?
And saved up his money to make Braid. Like it didn't just fucking come out of thin air. Like you have to fucking pay your dues and do shit that isn't fucking art.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't be a starving artist and then immediately succeed, Like it.
Yeah, it's a rough.
You have to fucking play the game sometimes.
Yeah,
and that's just how it works, man.
But I mean, that's what I was gonna say was
all you have to do is make the best of it,
Like I remember very vividly people walking up to us at the MagFest doesn't do the animation panel anymore, lo and behold. But like kids walking up and being like, I want to get noticed. What do I do? And then not the people who do. Not the Ego Raptors telling them this. It was the Onis and the Zacks, and Zach wasn't there. He was sick, very sick, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he was throwing up like crazy.
Yeah, but like Mick and all of them are just like, just start with parodies, and then once you get to the 100,000 subscriber mark, then you just do whatever you want, because then once you've got that audience, then it's word of mouth from there on out.
Absolutely.
But it's hard to do that now because it's like. Formats change.
Yeah,
you can't put
you're in 100,000. You're not making fucking peanuts.
Yeah, well, it's the thing, right? Like if you're at 100,000 subscribers and you have you're just doing Let's Plays, and you have like maybe 10,000 views per 20,000 views per day. That's a sustainable living now. Mm-hmm. That's insane to think about. Like if you just have 100,000 subscribers, which sounds like a lot, but if you can get there, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
No, I mean, dude, it's the truth. And if I can do a little fucking demystifying right now, like when I ask artists to do a GameGrumps animated, I don't ask much, but I do ask that it's at least over 1 minute, because if it's over 1 minute, then I can pay the artist fairly. If it's even fucking 59 seconds, the money that it makes is slashed at least in half, if not more.
Minutes watched. Like it's bullshit.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I have to be like, please make it a minute so that I can pay you fairly.
And I think there's people who are just like, He just doesn't mean that. It's like, no, literally, that is like actually a thing that like matters on YouTube.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because it was the perfect opportunity for me to research that because we had released like a couple GameGrumps animateds and like some of them were
Shame the show was canceled. Sorry, keep talking.
A couple of them were over a minute, and then there was like one or two that were like just shy of a minute, and it was like astounding the difference in the amount of money that it made with monetization.
Which is crazy because you're thinking about it and you're like, well, these like right now these videos are going up and they're paying for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like that money is going straight back to the animator
Right.
immediately, and that's like it's only helping people.
It's like
draw people to
nearly
the
100% pass through for animators. Like that's yeah.
Yeah, I mean but that's the amazing thing about it. Like, just because it's a minute, you're able to do that. That's weird.
But still, like, it's not even comparable to what like
Yeah.
I should be paying these people. Like,
But you were paying everyone else. You didn't pay me for the animateds. I did, motherfucker. Truth is out. I'm quitting Toon Grumps right now.
If you want, I can pay you for your.
Can you buy me a? I don't know. I can't think of anything cool. Buy me another Cintiq.
Okay,
Done.
Oh yeah, the new Cintiq is out.
Yeah.
I tried to order that.
It's gonna be really hard to do Toon Grumps without that.
Oh man, I was so upset with fucking Cintiq.
Oh yeah, you actually tried to buy one
with Wacom. Oh my god, I was so upset.
Tell the
with them.
story.
I love Wacom. So guys, sorry if this is, but it was just this one particular
I
instance
love them too.
where I ordered the new Cintiq and
I think it's Wacom actually. I've been saying it wrong as well.
Wacom.
Yeah, I still say Wacom. Even the guys there, I was like, it's Wacom. They're like, no, I work at Wacom. It's Wacom.
Yeah.
Like,
If you call them on the phone, it's like, thank you for calling Wacom Industries.
Wacom sounds like jerking off.
Yeah. It's like Wacom and go.
Anyway, sorry, tell your story about
So
Wacom.
I ordered one, and then I guess they tried to call me to verify something, and then I got an email like a couple days later that was like, hey, we need to verify something, and I was like, and I replied like immediately. I was like, okay, what do you need to verify? I'm here. Cool. All right. Yes, I did buy this. And then I got a response, and they were like, oh, we canceled your order. And it's like, what? And so I was like, all right, well, whatever. And I went back on the website, and they were sold out. And I was like, well, fuck, man. Like,
Jesus.
I was like on the ball with getting this fucking Wacom, and I didn't get a call. So whatever. That was very frustrating.
Sucks.
And
That
I still
sucks.
don't have the new Cintiq, and I really fucking want it.
It's just bigger. It's wider.
Yeah, because the one that you have,
I have two. I have some fucking first world problems. I have the
you have the
21 UX,
UX,
which is
yeah.
what I use. Like that's my baby.
that was the biggest one.
I
for a
love that
while.
one. I still love it. I think I actually like it not being widescreen for some reason. But anyway, I got the other one to have at home, which was the 20. What's it called? 24 UX, 24.
The 22 HD.
22 HD.
Is it the one I have at the office?
Yes, it's the same one you have in the office. But like it was on my I had it like set up on the Ergotron, which is a
Like an
robot
arm,
thing. And I think I was like pointing at something to show Holly. He's like, I was just working on this bit here, and I swiped. I was like, oh my god, it's a touch screen.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Like I swiped and it went
Yeah.
down. I'm like, am I a wizard?
Yeah, they all have touches now.
I was like, when did this happen?
You
And
have
then
to turn it off.
I turned it off because I
Yeah.
didn't want it because I was like, I discovered that what I thought was a glitch was actually my finger.
You thought it was that's awesome.
So I didn't like it. I was like, this thing's buggy and broken. But
Yeah.
it's actually my hand accidentally like knocking the shit. I was like, fuck, this is annoying.
But the biggest one they had for a while was like the 24 HD, and it was huge and super heavy, and you couldn't put it on an Ergotron arm. It had its own stupid stand.
What the fuck?
So
That's right. I actually I was at I went to a studio for like something and like a game studio, and they had them, and I was like, they were huge.
Yeah.
They're like big as a fucking TV screen. Like, and you had to lean over it like, I'm an animator.
Yeah.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
and it weighed like 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, it looks fucking weird. And
But
it
they just released like a comparable size model that's light, and you can put it on an Ergotron.
Thank God.
So
Thank
that's the one I was trying to get, but
because that's why I didn't want to upgrade to that. I was like, fuck that shit.
yeah. The Ergotron makes so much difference.
Dude, these people are listening like, we these fucking privileged artists with their fancy toys. Well, fuck them. And you've got a fucking portable Cintiq you don't even use.
I use it all the time.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you
That's what I draw on at home.
really? The Cintiq companion.
Yeah,
You actually use
I
it?
fucking love that thing.
How much is that?
It's like $2,000.
We're not sponsored by Wacom, although I wish I was. But
It's pretty expensive.
It is.
Yeah.
I would really like one. Can you get me that to pay for mine?
I don't know. Maybe for your birthday.
Yeah, sweet.
Because
Because I was like, man, I don't think Aaron uses that. Maybe I could ask her to bring it to Australia with me.
oh God, no! I fucking use it all the time.
Shit.
I love that thing. And there are a
Alright,
lot of
that
people
answers
that
that,
have
man.
problems with it. I've never had a problem with it. I fucking love it.
All right.
It's like a portable Cintiq.
That is pretty cool. Does it have
responsive.
Windows installed on it?
Yeah, it's Windows 8 though.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's fine. Like it, you don't think about it when you're in Photoshop.
I guess
or
that's
Flash.
true. That's true. I don't know. I mean, Windows 8. I wouldn't say it's growing on me, but I'm at this point where I was like, sit down. I was like, Windows 8. And I'm like, all right. Like,
You just kind of have to tolerate it.
yeah, just like I'll just wait till Windows 9. It'll be okay.
But they released the new companion. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just a better hardware. So maybe get that one. Maybe
Yeah.
save up for that one because it's like fucking $2,500. So expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck.
But you'll use it. Like that's the thing. Is like
Yeah.
these products, you'll fucking use it. Like it's worth it. Like my first Cintiq, my dad got me for Christmas.
That was the 21UX, but it was the early model.
yeah.
That had
the
the-
fucking gray
the-
one with
They
the
had
ghosting.
the problem with that one is that the cable isn't actually removable. So if it comes loose, it's just it yellows the screen. And then
Yeah,
it's
it makes it super bleedy.
second
and-
generation, which I got, still good.
But like I use that shit to death, like to death. Like I
Oh, dude.
fucking like. Just there's so many fucking scratches on that
I
screen.
had an
'cause-
Intuos 2. I used that for 11 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Intuos. I think it was the Intuos 2 that I got from Newgrounds
Really?
because I was
That's
working
crazy.
on
Metal
I was
Gear
working
Awesome
on Metal
2.
Gear Awesome 2, and it was the first time that I gave myself a deadline.
And I remember that, and it
Yeah.
fucking broke.
Yeah, and my tablet broke when I was like rigorously working on it, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to make this deadline. My tablet
Man.
broke. I don't have enough money to get a new tablet and stuff, and I just I heard Tom was giving out Cintiqs for like whatever.
No. Wacom's. Cintiq wasn't even a
Oh,
thing.
I'm
back
sorry.
then.
I'm sorry. He was giving out Intuos tablets.
Yeah, tablets.
To artists on YouTube for like whatever reasons.
Newgrounds, not YouTube.
Yeah, to Newgrounds. I'm sorry.
I don't think he would be doing that.
I don't even think about fucking the shit that. Yeah. So
Love you, Tom.
Newgrounds artists who's giving out tablets to Newgrounds artists,
Yes.
and I didn't feel like I had any other options because I was completely broke, and I was living with my parents and stuff, and they, they're not like amazingly well off or anything, so
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, Tom, I really want to finish this cartoon and I can't, and my tablet broke and like I'm in a really shitty spot, and he was just like, dude, no problem, and sent me a tablet, and I was like, yes,
That's amazing.
and I used that shit to fucking death until I got the Cintiq.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild. I remember using that. Now, if you try to use like a tablet like that, I don't know. It's crazy that you mentioned like working on like every time you think of like every time you talk about working Metal Gear Awesome 2, to me in my memory, that's just like I was on Skype the whole time with Aaron when he was working on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just talked on Skype the whole time you were working on that.
pretty much.
Yeah, and I would be working on other shit, and yeah, it was cool.
That's how I used to work.
Yeah, man. I've been trying to do it lately, like talk to friends while I'm on like
Mhm.
trying to animate, and actually kind of nostalgic. And I'm just like, oh, this is really fun.
Yeah.
Actually, I recommend that if you're having a hard time working on stuff, surround yourself with like a circle of artists that you've met from other online communities,
Yeah.
and like try and like grow together as friends and artists, and
Yeah. That's definitely what happened.
bounce
with
off
us.
each other, like paint chats, whatever you have to do. Just yeah, I mean that's like everyone that I know. That's the weirdest thing, right? Like I remember like people being like, like you're. And it sounds like so fucking stupid to say like your internet friends aren't real. It's like I remember hearing that like when you're like 15. And
They're
shit.
much realer than.
Yeah, like every single person I know here in America is someone that I was friends with online,
Mhm.
and that's crazy to think
Yeah.
about. Like that's crazy. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it goes into a topic that I
Yeah.
was reading about recently.
Yeah.
It's a Malcolm Gladwell book, I think, Outliers.
Mm-hmm.
That talks about like opportunities, like
Yeah.
the people that you know in your life who are successful are not necessarily successful because they're geniuses or they're like really good at what they did.
Yeah.
It's because they had all the opportunities
Yep.
to become successful.
Mhm.
So I am of the mind that if it were not for the fact that I am the age that I was,
Mhm.
I got into the community that I did with
Mhm.
Newgrounds, and I grew up with these artists, I would not be like
No, I wouldn't be.
Igor after, you know.
I wouldn't be here either. It's wild to think about. It's really crazy.
It has nothing to do with fucking how talented I am
Mhm.
or anything, which is not very much.
You know
and-
what I think?
What?
I think that the next, so like when you think of like that, like being born in a like a specific time, or like growing up in that specific time and being fucking exposed to like a specific type of like, I guess, outlet, right? So like Newgrounds for us. I'm thinking like in my head now that like the next version of that, I think it's gonna be like all those Twitch people. Because I'm like seeing all these like
Yeah, sure.
Twitch celebrities showing up. I have no idea who they are.
Dude.
I don't watch Twitch generally, so I'm like, ooh, and they're like, blah blah blah. He plays LOL, and I'm like, I don't know.
You can see it everywhere. I mean, you can see it
Yeah.
in the indie game boom.
Yeah.
Around I don't remember what year it was,
That's
but
like all Flash games.
when
Yeah, like
absolutely.
Flash games from Newgrounds. It's crazy.
Fucking like when that era where like Castle Crashers and Braid and Super Meat Boy came out,
Mhm.
like if you hit an indie game right at that time, then like you're well known now. Like you're you're one of the legendary indie game creators,
Yep.
and all the there's so many new indie games
so
now
weird to
that
think about.
it's hard to like break into the industry and like be a well-known indie game creator. But these were the guys that did it first,
Mhm.
and you know those games are fucking awesome. But
Mhm.
like it's not because they were the best games; it's because it was the right time. They had the
right amount
right
of quality,
right
and yeah,
passion, right motivation. You know, right. Just all the stuff was right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is interesting to think of like how many people I knew back from the Newgrounds days that are like now indie game developers, like Dim and Tom. I don't know if anyone remembers Decline of Video Gaming. Like that was a pretty
Yeah.
cool series on
I
Newgrounds.
still get emails about that.
That's crazy. I do too.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like people were like, I saw you in the credits of Decline of Video Gaming. That's crazy that you and Aaron do GameGrumps now. That's so weird.
I think
And I'm
maybe
like,
because it's sort of like still relevant, you know?
yeah,
like
no,
the
it's
decline of
dude,
video
it's
games
so
still-
weird. I was watching it. I'm like, some of these jokes are actually kind of still relevant.
Yeah.
Like taking the piss out of like, oh man, I watched it recently actually, like the whole thing.
Well, there was like,
Yeah.
wasn't there a like this was before Metal Gear Solid 4 was even like
Yes,
a thing.
yeah.
And they made
he
like an old Snake joke.
They actually did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like fucking like profit level shit.
It was pretty ahead of its
Fucking
time.
Dim and Tom, man. Flash Bros. It's crazy. Wow. That's weird to think about, man.
Yeah,
It's
man.
super weird.
Those are the times, man. Those
Yeah.
are the times that I was like convinced. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be a voice actor.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's like I'm not an animator.
Dude,
I'm
I
a voice
fucking
actor.
remember going up to you, and I was in a Skype call with fucking who was it? It was our friend Serge, I think Joanna May, and then like fucking a few other people,
Mhm.
and then we were all like, you made this like GIF, and it was like Mega Man fighting what do you call them? The little
The Mets.
Yeah,
Metools.
and he spat in his eye.
Yeah. Cheap Shot.
Yeah, Cheap Shot. That was it.
Yeah.
It's on DeviantArt if you can look it up somehow.
Yeah,
on
if you look up
Aaron's-
Egoraptor Cheap Shot, you can find it.
Yeah.
It's a GIF I made like way before I made even my first Flash.
And it was done in
cartoon.
Easy Toon, which is
Yeah.
like a pixel, whatever. It's not Flash. And we saw it and we're like, Aaron, this is pretty good. Like, and this is back in the time when like people really weren't like still like legendary frogging and motion tweening, and you
Mhm.
know like there was no Adam Phillips on the scene yet with
Yeah.
Body of Brackenwood
Yeah.
and all that. So it was like pretty good. And we're like, Aaron, this is pretty good. What? You sure you don't want to do animation? Your art's pretty good already. And he's just like, no, you know, I just want to be a voice actor. Just want to do voices. Just want to be a voice actor. I remember that. I fucking remember
Yeah.
that. And I was like, I mean, all right.
I think I just didn't want the pressure of like,
Yeah.
you know, that being my job or what I'm known for. Because I did it. I did it for fun. I just liked animating. I just thought it was fun. And like just the idea of like having to, because there was no career for independent animators at
No.
the time. So
Who
I
didn't
didn't want to be an
Newgrounds no
animator.
money?
I didn't want to work for a studio
right,
or anything
right,
like
right.
that. So
And there was no money in Newgrounds.
Yeah.
I think at one point they brought in like a monthly prize, and like that was like way late in the life cycle.
$250.
Yeah, and that was like
for
that
first place.
That wasn't even around when I was doing most of my stuff.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think about. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I think I was just doing it because I wanted something to do because I wasn't finding that thing, that niche like skill. Like everyone had music or whatever, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I just want to draw and make cartoons. I don't care what they're about. I just want to have fun, and I think that's just where it all came from.
Well, that's the weirdest thing too. Is like you talk to anybody who, you know, if you talk to like me, or you talk to you, or you talk to Chris or Zach, or any of the people that are like part of that sort of era or like that group, I bet they can tell you at least one or two big influences on them were like some website or
Yeah.
some old Flash
absolutely.
cartoon that didn't go anywhere, that nobody's fucking seen.
Yeah.
But was like popular in that community.
Yeah.
And like that was the inspiration for us to animate, and then like
100%.
just because we had the opportunities that we had, we ended up making a career out of it, or at least temporarily.
I mean, I think my biggest, I think the weird thing was that for me, one of my biggest inspirations was actually to like move from being like really basic, just using Flash as a tool rather than being an animator, which is a weird thing to say. I mean, like, there was a time when GameGrumps was mostly just like, I am motion tweening a bunch of shapes, and that is animation. But then like people like Dan Paladin, who did the art for Castle Crashers, Alien Hominid, and I think the new game that's coming out. Like, I love his style and all that. And like for me as a kid, like I was in awe. I would like stop his animations, like his Singe and Hard animations, and I would look at his effects animation and be like, whoa, like how did he do that?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like trying to figure it out. And then I think like for the longest time, like I started drawing things and people were like, wow, your stuff's kind of like Dan Paladin. I'm like, is it? Is it?
Nice.
Yeah, it was, I don't know.
I did that shit with.
I don't know Dan. I'm too nervous to talk to him every time I see him.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he's kind of a shy guy too.
Yeah.
I don't know him very well, but
Yeah.
from wherever I've talked to him, it's just
Yeah.
kind of like, hey.
I remember the first time I did talk to him, it was at Comic-Con, and he's like, so you're a New Guys guy? He's like, what'd you do? It's like, nothing good. He's like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, for me it was like animes, a lot of Dragon Ball, a lot of
Oh, yeah, dude, I mean,
a lot of actually like the Mega Man cutscenes from Mega Man
that's
X4
interesting.
and Mega Man 8. I did a lot of like frame by frame on that, like looking through
that's
those.
interesting. I used to do that too. I think I still do that to this day. I'll like look at stuff that's like really cool and be like, oh man, I need to break this down and figure it out.
Mhm.
Like, I'm trying to think, what was the one moment I remember I said I wanted to be an animator? It was, I think I've said this before, it was Beast Wars. I was watching Beast Wars and I just
Really?
had that epiphany. I was like, wait, people are doing this for a job. This
Yeah.
cartoon has to come from some. This is a job. This is a job.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and then I saw that Nickelodeon thing where it was like the Ariel Monsters.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this. You saw
Yep.
it as well, and it totally made you want to do it.
That was the thing that made me want to be a voice actor.
And that's the thing that made me want to be an animator.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it was the guys. I don't know if anyone would have been old enough to see this. I mean, there's sure some of you were, but it was like this. What's the word? Like commercial thing in between some shows.
Interstitial.
Interstitial, yeah. And it was basically like, if you work in animation, you don't ever have to grow up, and like shooting Nerf guns, and we're like,
Oh my god, that's exactly what they said in the
Yeah,
commercial.
yes, it was.
You don't ever have to grow up.
And they shot Nerf guns. I was like, you don't? That's awesome. And I remember that.
It's
I
just
remember
the
going
shooting
like,
the Nerf gun scene is so like,
fuck me.
that's not how it is, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, you have to sit at a fucking
Maybe it
CT.
was in the fucking 90s, but now it's very fucking.
If someone shot me with a fucking like Nerf gun, I'd just be like, trying to work. I'm can't. I'm
Yeah.
trying to grow up. Shut up.
Well, because Nickelodeon was like that was the first. I think they might have done it first. Maybe Cartoon Network was also on it at around the same time because they had like Cow and Chicken and stuff. But Nicktoons was like the first time that they were like making cartoons as like almost as art, because before then it was all about like selling merchandise
Yeah.
and like selling action figures and stuff. Like you made a commercial for a toy in cartoon form, but you know it's like Rugrats is like backpack, like whatever that was made to be a show.
Yeah, that's interesting because like it's weird how it's the other way around now. Like as a show creator, if I get a toy made, I'll be flipping the fucking. That's actually one of my goals right
Yeah,
now.
well,
It's
that's a whole nother topic
It's
entirely.
like a whole other topic entirely. Like, I mean, it's weird because when you think Transformers, like they sat down and they're like, okay, this guy, these guys, bad guys, cars are good guys.
Right.
And originally, like, Soundwave was supposed to be the leader, and that's why the Decepticon logo is Soundwave's head.
Yeah.
Check that shit out. Because he was the tallest toy.
Yeah.
But then they were like, nah, you know, like, let's make the gun the main. Anyway, that was a show that was toys first, show second to sell the toys.
But you watched it as a kid, and
Yeah.
it inspired you
To make
and,
a show.
and that feeling
Yeah.
that you got from like owning the toys and
Yeah.
like
So now it's
watching the
reverse.
show. So now it's
Yeah.
like I'm making a show because I would be fucking honored to have toys. Like
Yeah.
it would be art to have toys.
If I
You
could
know,
get fucking like, oh man, like Takara Tomy fucking making like Gamerverse toys, I'd be like,
dude. Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That shit would be awesome.
yeah, I'd lose my goddamn mind. Like, oh,
I think that's actually been a pretty big criticism. So I've heard.
yeah.
In Japan recently.
What?
Yeah. So like I guess there's this interview or article or something where Miyazaki was saying that he doesn't like the state of current anime because now all the anime creators are just like super fans. and they're making animes for themselves and not like for art, you know, like they're
I mean, yeah.
so you see like the Amaishis who do like gratuitous shit, and it's like
And like Trigger.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like it's not gratuitous in the sense that they're doing it to like, you know, get more people watching or whatever. It's gratuitous because that's what they like. You know, that's what they grew up on, because
Right.
the
So
era that they
true.
grew up on, the gratuity was to grab people in, but they liked those things, and so growing up they want to replicate that, but as an art as opposed to as a business.
I mean, I can understand that. Like, we're writing the new Gamerverse, and like I can literally tell you from the top of my head like the things that inspired it. It was obviously Captain N, Reboot, the recent that got canceled, Green Lantern animated series, Star Trek: The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of other things, but like I think of all those things as a whole, and I'm just like, fuck, like everything I can see, like when I'm looking through it, I'm like, crap. There's so much, like, I don't know, like. There's just, I think that like the most important thing about being a creator is just watching things.
Yeah, of
you know?
course.
Like, just
There's no original idea.
I mean, there can be originality from inspiration.
Yeah, well, everything's iterative. There's no like, oh my god, this has never been done before. It's like, of course it's been done before.
Yeah,
Fucking
exactly.
story format is so fucking universal. Like 3-act structure, 4-act structure.
Yeah.
Fucking protagonist arc, this and that.
Yeah.
Like it's all been done. It's just a matter of putting your own unique spin on it and having it speak to people in a way that it also speaks to you, you know?
That's true.
Because, and I guess I wasn't clear enough in the Miyazaki thing, is like, I don't necessarily believe
in what he's saying.
What he believes, you know? Like, I feel like if people are expressing themselves in that way and that's how they want to do it, then, you know, they should.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's
Nothing
not
should
like
stop them.
the world needs, you know, like a Miyazaki. I don't know. I guess that's how I feel. Is it like, it's like, just because there was a Miyazaki doesn't mean there needs to be like a fucking another Miyazaki after Miyazaki's gone, you know? Like,
That's I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
and I'm sure there are plenty of fucking artists and stuff that were inspired by Miyazaki, and they're gonna end up making that kind of art, you know? Like, he just happened to be the one to jump on it. I mean, it's like Tezuka as well. Like,
Oh God, Tezuka, Jesus.
Tezuka hit it right. He had the perfect opportunity to be like a successful manga artist, and he did everything himself. He fucking made the Astro Boy show himself.
Also a doctor, didn't care though.
Yeah. He was so passionate about what he did, and he also happened to be really fucking good at it, and like, made really artistic works. Like that's pretty rare. Like it wasn't because he was super artistic and amazing at what he did. It was because like of all the right timing, and like he did it all himself, and like he did it cheap, and so he's the father of anime, but also he happened to be super fucking artistic and great.
It's just wild. Like,
So-
what an interesting guy.
Yeah, totally.
Like, he was Japan's Walt Disney. Like, that's
Agreed.
it.
Yeah. I don't think for a second that like a lot of people say Miyazaki is Japanese Walt Disney, and
I don't agree with that. I mean, he's definitely like very similar, but I would say Tezuka may had an impact on the timing. It comes back to timing, right? Like he was at that exact point in time doing the same things that Walt were doing.
He created anime.
He
Like
created
that's
anime.
it.
That's a fucking huge deal. Like, you created anime.
Pikachu Diamond.
Pikachu Diamond. Like, that
flying
shit.
like Goku.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
Yeah, plus he told some fucking crazy stories. And like his proteges, Tezuka's proteges ended up like shaping anime for years to come. Fucking Ishimori was one of his like top proteges, and he's responsible for fucking creating Power Rangers and Kamen Rider.
That's really, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, the guy who made Cyborg 009.
That's crazy. I don't know a lot about Kamen Riders other than what Alex Octopimp tells me. And from what I've seen, I'm like, this looks rad. But like, I don't know where to start with it.
It's to sell toys.
It's to sell. I mean, dude, I know, but I like toys. So what can I say?
You know what's interesting too is that like he sort of had the opposite effect on the landscape, right? Like Tezuka, he hit it right in all the anime stuff, blah 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 blah, but also was super artistic about it. But his protege Ishimori like went more of like a commercial route, and that's where anime went. So like, you know, Kamen Riders to sell fucking toys and Power Rangers to sell fucking toys and Monster of the Day kind of content, you know,
Gotcha,
like
gotcha,
throwaway
gotcha.
content. So it's pretty interesting how that happened.
Yeah, it's fucking weird, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I just want to make good art. I just want to animate. I feel like I've got so much. Like, last year was like such a. I don't know. I felt like I was falling behind and I wasn't doing what I needed to do. And I feel like it's picking up this year. And I'm like,
well, I think we all felt that way.
yeah, yeah. I feel like it's
We didn't have the right what's the word? The right like reason, I guess.
yeah,
You were just sort of doing it.
yeah. No.
We weren't really like listening to what we really wanted.
Yeah, and I think that now that that's not the case, it's like everyone's kind of like, I'm gonna do this amazing project. And everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. And
Well,
like,
plus it's hard to pave your own path, right?
yeah,
like,
right.
Like when I was talking about this recently on an
Mhm.
episode of GameGrumps, and I think people got maybe the wrong impression because
Yeah,
I
right.
don't articulate very well in GameGrumps. But
Mhm.
I was saying how like I wish I was in a hard spot again because I was like creating more art. But
Oh, I heard. Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah.
but
right.
but it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was out of necessity, right? Like you make the best of what you can.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how most people live their lives completely. Like nobody really, like, yeah, I was making more art, but it wasn't like really the art that I wanted to make, or like, you know, the art that I was making was very like small scale because I needed to spend time making art that made me money, you know, that like paid rent and
Absolutely.
shit. So it's like, yeah, okay, I was making more art, but like what for? And I feel like most artists go through life, doing that, right? Like, doing art because they have to, and they do it a lot, yeah, but they're doing it because they have to, and nobody really takes that leap and says like, well, you know what, I'm going to, like Ralph Bakshi, you know, like I'm going to just fucking whatever, drop everything, like I'll be poor,
Yeah.
this is what I want to do. I want to make this tremendous art that's going to take like so much of my effort, so much of my time, so much of my money, so much of my fucking health, because I want to make this, right? Like not a whole lot of people do that.
Not a lot of. I mean,
I think that was a declaration that we needed to make. That was like inevitable, right? It's like we have the opportunity to make the things that we've always wanted to make. Why not make them right now?
It's like fucking Harry Partridge. He's doing the exact same thing with Starbarians right now. He's just kind of doing everything he can to like make his show a reality. And I think that's super admirable.
Yeah,
And, like,
yeah, totally.
That's probably why a lot of people are like, "Where's he going?" It's like he's fucking working on Starbarians, man. Fucking guy's a machine.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
like-
And it's just like fucking just 5 minutes, you know? It's like,
Yeah, like that. And it sounds like, yeah, like where you been? 5 minutes of animation, you're a fucking loser. It's
yeah,
like,
but
fuck you, dude.
Meanwhile, every fucking waking moment is like,
yeah.
I gotta, and this isn't good enough,
Yeah.
you know? It's
I mean, okay, if this video has been anything, like this has been sped up, like I think like 1,000 or 900%. I think it varies between the footage here, but like
was this like a couple days?
this is like a few days. I mean, like a few separate days. Yeah,
Wow.
I just like was compiling it, but like, dude, like this shit here, like constantly second guessing everything you're doing. Like
Yeah.
I was gonna redo this because I thought it was shitty, but then I played it back at the end. I was like, oh, I just needed the fingers in and everything looked right.
And here, I mean, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, this animation was made possible because of Starbomb, right? Like,
Right.
This wasn't like an animation you were like, I'm gonna satisfy my creative urge to make a fucking Minecraft music video, right? Like,
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Like you're making the best of the situation where it's like, okay,
well,
I have to make this.
the thing,
so
well, it wasn't a have
let's have
to.
fun with it.
Well, it wasn't a have to. You never said, Russ, you're making this.
Right.
I approached you and I was like, because I was kind of in this spot where I hadn't been animating for a bit and it was kind of killing me inside. And I was like, I need to work on something. I need a project. And like, I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything I wouldn't immediately move on. I wasn't ready to move on to Gameverse. I needed something to tie me over and at least like get myself warmed up for the next thing. And I was like, is anyone doing the Minecraft song? And you're like, no. And I'm like, I'll do the Minecraft song.
Oh,
like,
dude, absolutely.
yeah.
But my point is that like,
yeah,
that's the framing of it, right? Like,
Yeah, right.
You needed a project.
yeah,
It wasn't possible for you to go,
right. Yeah, no, of course.
I'm going to
of course, yeah.
spend, you know, fucking months, if not years, on something that doesn't amount to anything aside from the fact that it exists. you know?
Right. Of course.
So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still glad I did this. I mean, just so everyone knows,
No,
like,
you did a fucking amazing
oh,
job.
thank you. There's a lot I'm not showing in this, obviously, but like one of the things that was really embarrassing. I kind of feel embarrassed to tell the story because Notch might see it. But I was like worried I drew Notch too fat, and I was like, he's gonna be coming in the office, and I don't want to offend him. And I was like, and then he's like, when he's in the office, he's just like, oh yes, I don't wear the fedora anymore, and I'm like, oh shit, I drew him the fedora. Oh my god, I'm gonna be such an asshole. I was like so embarrassed. Like, so what do you think, Notch? This is you, and he's like, oh, looks great. I'm glad you drew the fedora. I'm like, oh thank god. I was like, oh fucking hell. But
Wait, so in your mind, you were thinking he was gonna say like, I don't wear the fedora anymore?
no, he said it.
Oh.
He said it when he's in the office. He's like, the fedora. There's a lot of negativity revolving around fedoras now, so I don't wear it anymore.
yeah.
And I was like thinking, like, shit, I'm gonna show him what I animated of him, and I wasn't that nervous, Notch, but nice meeting you. You're a really nice guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, fuck, like, man, I don't know, like, I did a Minecraft cartoon before, and I did it, and I didn't really want to do anymore. I thought I did, but like, I did one. And then everyone's like, do Darkcraft 2. And I was like, yeah, I'll do Darkcraft 2 because this one's so successful. And then I just realized I didn't really want to. And then I made then I made another one just as the whole message of it was like, I don't want to do another one.
Right.
And
That's the hardest realization to make.
Yeah.
Is like, for me, it was like Metal Gear Awesome 3. You know, like,
where is it, man?
I had plans to make a Metal Gear Awesome 3 and maybe a 4. I wanted to finish the whole game basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I was constantly saying like, hey, maybe up next, Metal Gear Solid. And there were times where I was like, absolutely up next.
Yeah,
Metal
I remember that.
Metal Gear Awesome
I
3.
remember that.
And it was just like this long, arduous, soul-searching process to realize like, I don't want to fucking make that. Like, I don't want to work on that.
I mean, that happened when I was
It does not make me
17
happy.
too. Van Helsing thing or whatever. Fucking. But I mean, dude, like, I should probably say, like, just so people know, I'm doing essentially what's an animatic keys. I just roughed out this cartoon. It's now at the stage where I'm passing it along to Yada, and they're going to be doing in-betweens and filling in the shots I didn't do. And so Yada's going to finish this. I did a lot of sequences. So yeah, I'm not going to take all the credit on this one when it comes out, just so you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they're amazing. They fucking love those guys. You guys do amazing work. And,
Oh yeah.
dude, you know what's super exciting? This is a great story to since we're coming to a close soon. Like Jake, who kind of owns and runs Yada,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He was this tiny kid on Newgrounds that
He was like 13
he was
when
like
we first
13
met him.
when we first met him, and I was like, there you go, there's a sequence. I'm panicking. Jake was tiny, and I was like, Jake, you're gonna be great. You're gonna do great things if you keep this up at your age and you keep going. You're gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Now he made Studio Yada.
Yeah,
That's
he
crazy.
Owns an animation.
He owns an animation
studio,
and he actually just sent me a random message the other day. He's like, dude, I just want to say, like, I was thinking about it. Like, thanks so much for the kind words you said to me, like that pink berry outside of Comic-Con that one time. Like, it really stuck with me.
Dude,
and I think
dude.
about that, and I'm just like, man, when people fucking shove you off as a kid, that has a huge impact.
Oh my
on
god,
you.
are we making a fucking conversation arc right now?
Yeah.
We opened up talking
Yeah.
about negativity and doing stuff out of spite,
Yeah.
and then here is Jake, the perfect example of like nurturing an artist, and he's like making something that none of us could have ever that all of us wanted to make.
Yep.
But none of us fucking had the balls,
Mm-hmm.
had the, I would even say talent
Mm-hmm.
to fucking do. And
Yep.
he was just like, I'm gonna do it. This is what I want to do.
Fucking kid.
Because he fucking was supported the whole way through. He had all these people saying like, you can fucking do it. Of course you can
Yeah.
do it.
Dude, they're so good that like I was working on this and I was like, this has to be up to their standards. Or they're gonna be like, why is this fucking scrub lord making us? Why do we have to animate this scrub lord's fucking work? Like, this, I was always thinking like, oh, this can't be a fucking like. It has to be a convenience, not a hindrance.
Right.
And I was like constantly thinking that it has to be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, dude, when I gave it to when I gave what the fuck was it called? The Luigi thing?
Mm-hmm.
When I gave Luigi's Ballad to them, they were like, "Oh, some of these keys are kind of
More keys, please.
yeah, they're kind of like and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like cuz I never passed off my animation
Yeah,
before like
I have that.
I
thought.
know how it's supposed to look in my head, but yeah.
Anyway,
Hey.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Click subscribe for more.
Subscribe for more
Toon Grumps.
Toon Grumps. So
Tune in tomorrow for the next Toon Grumps episode.
in the next episode, Aaron will be animating Metal Gear Awesome 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Promise, coming out tomorrow.
I've decided that
He's deciding
that's the next
Warcraft
cartoon.
2 on Thursday, or the next, the day after that, or whatever.
Yep. And then the day after that, more cartoons
more
coming your
cartoons
way.
coming your way. Gonna make the whole cartoon.
Click there to subscribe. Leave a comment, like, favorite. Send it to your friends.
Send it to your friends. Watch if you're gonna watch the animation. Watch it a lot on loop because the minutes watched big problem right now.
Yep. So just put it in a playlist endlessly. This video.
Yep.
And it will finance the ability for us to make more cartoons because nobody can make fucking money on YouTube anymore making cartoons.
Yep.
So
all right. So
shit.
Thanks for watching. If you're seeing this on an animation blog and you're like, who are these fucking assholes?
Wow, you did a really good job
Thank you.
replicating the fucking Grumps logo.
Bitch, you think I can't draw?
Were you tracing it?
No, drew that freehand.
Wow. Jesus.